Development Bank Group, media houses, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. We have come to the end of the 2026 annual meetings. It was such an honor and a delight having all of you around us. I believe we have all had fruitful discussions during various engagements, including at the Governor's Dialogue, the Africa Day, at the knowledge events and side events. Before getting into the program of the closing ceremony, permit me to express our deepest and sincere appreciation to Mr. Ludovic Ngate, Chairperson of the Boards of Governors of the African Development Bank Group, and Minister of Economy, Planning, Statistics and Foresight of the Republic of Congo for his sterling leadership in the last year, and then, of course, during his tenure as the Chairperson of the Boards of Governors. I would also like to recognize and thank the Vice Chairperson of the Boards of Governors, Denmark, and then the second Vice Chairperson of the Boards of Governors, South Africa. We thank you for your leadership. Appreciation also goes to the entire National Organizing Committee for all of the arrangements put in place to ensure we have a very successful annual meetings. I would also like to thank you, Honorable Governors, for your immense support towards the bank's priorities and driving forth Africa's development agenda. Also to all of you participants who took the time to be with us during this week, we thank you all very much. Without much ado, I would like to delve into the program of the closing ceremony, which stands as follows. We will start with the closing remarks by Dr. Sidi Ulta, President of the African Development Bank Group. Ensuite, nous aurons une...
Then we will have a speech from Mr. Ludovic Ngate, who's the President of the Group of Governors of the African Development Bank, Minister of Economy, Planning, Statistics, and Forecasting for the Republic of Congo.
By the recognition and issuance of certificates to two outgoing executive directors of the African Development Bank Group. Enfin, nous aurons...
And finally, we will have a closing speech from His Excellency, Mr. Anastase Colline Makosso, Prime Minister, Head of Government of the Republic of Congo, representing His Excellency, Mr. Denis Sassou Nguesso, President of the Republic of Congo.
African Development Bank Group calls the best of videos, the best moments of the 2026 annual meeting. At this juncture, I would like to invite Dr. Sidi Ulta, President of the African Development Bank Group, for his closing remarks.
Excellence, Monsieur Anatole Colline Makosso, Premier ministre, chef du gouvernement de la République du Congo, représentant son Excellence Monsieur Denis Sassou Nguesso, Président de la République du Congo, chef de l'État. Excellence Monsieur Ndaba Nkosinati Gawolte, Vice-président de la République du Botswana.
Your Excellency Jean-Jacques Goya, Minister in charge of the infrastructure, the President of the Institution of the Republic of the Congo, Mr. Ludovic Ngate, Minister of the Economy, Planning, Statistics, Chairman of the Board of Governors. Honorable Governors of the African Development Bank, ladies and gentlemen, heads of international organizations and development partners, Excellencies, ambassadors, and members of the diplomatic corps accredited to Brazzaville, ladies and gentlemen, directors of the African Development Bank Group, ladies and gentlemen, representatives of the private sector and civil society organizations, dear philanthropists and members of African diaspora, dear members of the senior management and staff of the African Development Bank, honorable guests, ladies and gentlemen. We have come to the conclusion of our 2026 annual meetings. Allow me, first of all, to express my deepest gratitude and appreciation to His Excellency Denis Sassou Nguesso, President of the Republic of Congo. His leadership, vision, and gracious hospitality have been the foundation of the success of our meetings here in Brazzaville. My warmest thanks go to the Congolese government and people for their fraternal welcome, their exemplary mobilization, and the exceptional quality of the organization. I would also like to acknowledge the remarkable participation of Their Excellencies Archange Faustin Touadéra of the Central Republic and Brice Clotaire Oligui Nguema in our presidential dialogue. The panel of heads of state and the high-level dialogue among governors were moments of exceptional political and strategic significance for the African Development Bank. I would like to extend my warmest thanks for the clear, frank, and overwhelming support we have received. I would like to commend our host, His Excellency Ludovic Ngatse, Minister of Economy, Planning, Statistics, and Prospective Studies, Governor of the African Development Bank, and all his staff. I can't forget to commend the staff of the African Development Bank for their unwavering commitment and professionalism. I also would like to thank the Richard Assas Group that has worked on the organization of these annual assemblies. Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to talk to the governors of the African Development Group to say that I appreciate their frankness and the nature of their interventions. Ladies and gentlemen, dear governors, I would like to thank you for the clarity of your orientation, for the richness of your contributions, and for your overwhelming support for the African Development Bank Group's reform agenda. I wanted to assure you that your strategic guidance has been fully heard, understood, and taken to heart. It will guide our actions in the weeks, months, and years ahead. Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to commend a strong political gesture, and I invite you to give a warm round of applause for the President Denis Sassou Nguesso's decision to abolish visas for all African citizens effective January 2027. It is a courageous decision, a strategic decision, a profoundly Pan-African act. The fact that it was announced here during our assemblies sends a powerful signal Under our joint leadership, African integration is moving more from rhetoric to concrete reality. Ladies and gentlemen, a key milestone this week was our meeting with civil society organizations, philanthropic actors, and the African diaspora. Indeed, development cannot be conceived solely in boardrooms. It is built at the heart of communities with those who work on the ground every day. To you, the driving forces of civil society, philanthropists, and members of our diaspora, your role is irreplaceable. We will intensify our cooperation to focus on top priorities: women's empowerment, youth employment, support the SMEs, and universal access to essential services. The bank will be your leading partner. Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, I'm delighted to announce another excellent news. The Republic of Angola has just confirmed its decision to contribute 6.5 million euros to the replenishment of the African Development Fund. This contribution now amounts to 25, the number of countries that have contributed a global amount of $190 million. Thank you very much, Angola. Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, as we bring this meeting to a close, I would like to recall the powerful words of a great author from the Congolese land, Chikaya Tamsi. His real name is Gerard-Philippe Chikaya, who wrote, My continent is a giant question mark on the world map. This sentence must continue to challenge us. Our responsibility today at the African Development Bank is precisely to help transform this question mark into a resounding exclamation point. An exclamation mark of ambition, an exclamation mark of confidence, an exclamation mark of action. Our ambition at the African Development Bank is to become a bolder, more innovative, a more agile bank, closer to the people. A bank that puts women's empowerment at the center of its action. Our ambition is to be at the heart of the structural transformation and the primary tool for its economic integration. In short, the AfDB aims to be the bank of solutions for the Africa we want. The bank of solutions for the Africa we want. Remember the slogan. It is on this note of optimism and determination that I conclude my remarks at the close of the 2026 annual meetings of the African Development Bank. I wish you all a safe journey back to your respective homes. Thank you.
Please, can we clap once again for Dr. Sidi Uta for successfully completing his first annual meetings. Congratulations, Dr. Sidi Uta. And of course, let's clap for the Republic of Congo for being such a great host. And then Angola for your pledge to the ADF-17, Mutual Obrigada. Thank you, Mr. President. Et maintenant, j'ai l'honneur.
I am honored to invite upstage Mr. Ludovic Ngatse, Chairperson of the Board of Governors of the African Development Bank Group and Minister of the Economy, Planning, Statistics and Forecasting of the Republic of Congo, for his closing statement. Mr. Governor, over to you.
Monsieur
The Prime Minister, Head of Government, Deputy Prime Minister, Coordinator of the Organizing Committee of the Annual Meetings of the African Development Bank, Honorable Ministers, dear colleagues, Mr. President of the African Development Bank Group, Honorable Governors and Executive Directors of the African Development Bank Group, dear ambassadors, distinguished national authorities, dear guests, ladies and gentlemen. As we come to the close of the annual meetings of the African Development Bank Group holding here in Brazzaville, I am deeply honored to take the floor before you in my capacity as the chairperson of the Board of Governors for this closing ceremony. Let me start by indicating how delighted I am following the huge presence of more than 4,500 participants from various angles and with different profiles at the annual meetings this year. This reveals the important role the Republic of Congo plays in continental events from the 25th to the 29th of May 2026. Brazzaville played host to be the heartbeat of the continent's development reflection. Over 5 days, heads of state and government met here, as well as governors, executive directors, delegations from various countries, as well as leaders of different banks, but also the civil society, notwithstanding the various strategic partners who were all present. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, as we know, the annual meetings stand as the most important statutory meeting of the African Development Bank Group. The annual meetings are a privileged platform for dialogue, strategic guidance, and discussions amongst governors, member countries, but also leaders of the bank, as well as partners, notwithstanding the civil society and other partners involved in Africa's development. And so the striking feature of the 2026 annual meetings under the theme, Mobilizing Africa's Resources at Scale in a Fragmented World, focused on getting the appropriate responses to the challenges on the continent, as well as mobilizing resources, but reflecting also about the continent's structural transformation. Our discussions throughout these annual meetings were very important for our joint institution. I will not come back to the details of our discussions, which held. Nonetheless, I would like to indicate that the conclusions we arrived at were to the expectations which were held. As such, the Board of Governors approved and encouraged the President of the bank, Dr. Sidi Uta, to roll out his vision, the 4 cardinal points, to strengthen the capacity for action on the influence of Africa in an increasingly fragmented world. Nonetheless, our commitments can only get value if it clearly changes the development trajectory of our continent, and that is the daily lives of our African citizens. As such, our joint commitment is to ensure that the move in Brazzaville does not end in Brazzaville. We should continue in concrete action, in monitoring reforms, but also increase involvement of our partners so as to fast-track our programs and projects. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, let us not consider these annual meetings as a simple statutory meeting which appears on our calendar. It should be considered as a real moment of truth as we face the urgent needs on our continent. It could be on financing gap. It could be climate challenges, on the structural transformation of our economies, and the huge need to create decent jobs for our youths and women, but also to fasten regional integration. As such, on a daily basis, Africa shows that it is not void of ambition or potential. Therefore, we should focus on creating more impact and proper delivery. And so, following our meetings in Brazzaville, we will transform this into concrete action on our infrastructure and tangible projects for our populations. That is the lone condition which will ensure that our institution stands as the driving force for our economic transformation on this continent. Dear guests, ladies and gentlemen, these annual meetings are holding at a pivotal moment for the Republic of Congo under the chairmanship of the President, Denis Sassou Nguesso, President of the Republic, Head of State. Our country wishes to stand as a key actor for development over the next 30 years. By putting in place the 2063 Congo Vision as well as the National Development Plan 2031. And so Congo is revealing its wish to fast-track its economic transformation and development. This ambition is based on 3 key pillars. Pillar 1, setting up key infrastructure. 2, economic diversification, and the 3rd pillar, developing human capital, improving governance, and also the attractiveness of a country. Mindful of its strategic geopolitical location in Central Africa, the development of Congo through its transport, energy, telecommunication, infrastructure, and the tourism sector will help contribute to fostering regional integration. By easing the movement of persons and goods, this infrastructure will help strengthen trade amongst countries and will support the competitiveness of economies in the sub-region. As such, it would enable Congo to stand as a key actor enabling interconnectivity and trade across Africa. Dear guests, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to say how deeply grateful we are to His Excellency Mr. Denis Sassou Nguesso, President of the Republic, Head of State, for his chair in ensuring that these annual meetings are a success. We'd also like to extend our gratitude to the Prime Minister, Head of Government, for his supervision. May I also extend our gratitude to the Deputy Prime Minister for his coordination and all members of government for their full involvement in the hosting and success of the annual meetings. On behalf of the boards of governors, I would like to extend our thanks to the President of the African Development Bank Group, Dr. Sidi Outa, to the executive directors as well as bank staff for their full commitment and support throughout our annual meetings. In addition, I would like to extend our gratitude to all delegations and partners for the quality of their participation and their huge contributions. Last, I would like to commend the joint country team, which worked effectively, professionally, to ensure the smooth success of this major event. Dear guests, ladies and gentlemen, hosting these annual meetings for the Republic of Congo was a great opportunity for us to showcase our country, but also to align its national priorities in line with the continental move. to ensure institutional continuity, but also development aspects. And so the Republic of Congo is fully available to transfer the experiences and lessons learned from hosting these annual meetings to the next country hosting next year's annual meetings. As I draw to the end of my statement, I would like to indicate that the spirit of solidarity, audacity, and collaboration which was present in Brazzaville should continue guiding us as we keep riding on. Africa should no longer wait for promises for the future. Rather, we should focus on present results so as to boost sovereign growth, to drop inequalities, and also to unleash the potential of our youth while sustainably transforming the living conditions of our populations. It is with such determination and renewed trust in our common future that I would like to restate that the guidance from our annual meetings would properly be implemented. Thank you very much, Matendo Mingi. Thank you once again.
In the last year, Mr. Ludovic Ngati, the chairperson of the boards of governors of the African Development Bank, has led all of us, not just at the boards of governors level, but through to the organizing committee level. So please, let's just give him a big round of applause and just thank him. We thank you. We thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. We thank you for your availability. We thank you for your patience. We thank you for your commitment. Thank you very much. Thank you. We would now move to inviting Dr. Sigi Oldtar to the stage for the recognition of the outgoing executive directors. As I mentioned earlier, 2 executive directors will be leaving the bank. So this is the time that we'll give them the recognition that they deserve. Now we have the honor of acknowledging 2 executive directors of the African Development Bank Group, whose service to our institution will come to an end on 31st August 2026. The first of the 2 is Mr. Alvaro Nadal Belda, Executive Director for Spain, Belgium, France, and France. Mr. Nadal Belda took office on 1st September 2024 and will be leaving the bank on 31st August 2026. So we thank him for his dedication, insight, and commitment to the work of the bank, and of course the deliberations of the boards. We'll wait for them to take one more picture just before we call the next. Thank you. Congratulations, Mr. Nadal Belda. Now we'll move to Mr. Edmond Dejean-Wega, Executive Director for Canada, China, Kuwait, and the Republic of Korea and Turkey. Mr. Wega first took office on 1st August 2022 and will be leaving the bank on 31st August 2026. We thank him for his dedication, insight, and commitment to the work of the boards during his tenure. Mr. Wega is not here today, so he's represented by Ms. Chow Lee Chai, his senior advisor, who's come on stage to receive the certificate on behalf of Mr. Wega. Mr. President, can you join them for the photo? So to these two executive directors who will be leaving in August, not end of May, please. So on behalf of the bank, we'd like to extend our deepest appreciation to you, to the two of you, for your individual service, your constructive contributions to the deliberations of the board, constant feedback to management, and your unwavering support to the development of Africa. We wish you the very best in your future endeavors. Now, may I now welcome on stage, maintenant j'invite.
May I now invite His Excellency, Mr. Anatole Koline Makoso, Prime Minister, Head of Government of the Republic of Congo, representing His Excellency, Mr. Denis Sassou Nguesso, President of the Republic of Congo, to come to the stage for the group picture that will be followed by the closing speech. Honorable Prime Minister, please.
Monsieur,
The Vice President of the Republic of Botswana, the Vice Prime Minister, Ministers of State, Ministers, Presidents of Constitutional Institutions, Members of Bureaus of Constitutional Institutions, the Minister of the Economy, Planning, Statistics and Forecasting, Governor of the African Development Bank for Congo, an outgoing chairperson of the Board of Governors of the African Development Bank Group, the President of the African Development Bank Group, the Honorable Governors of the African Development Bank Group, members of the boards of the African Development Bank and the African Development Fund, Your Excellencies, ambassadors and heads of diplomatic missions accredited to the Republic of Congo, the resident coordinator of the United Nations system, the representatives of the United Nations agencies and development partner institutions, the representatives of the private sector, civil society organizations, and academia, representatives of the media, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. I am indeed singularly honored and have the lofty duty to take the floor on this solemn occasion on behalf of His Excellency Denis Sassou Nguesso, President of the Republic, Head of State, who appointed me to chair on his behalf this closing ceremony of the 2026 annual meetings of the African Development Bank Group held here in Brazzaville. May I, On behalf of the President of the Republic, government, and on my personal behalf, our deep appreciation on the quality of the proceedings and the engagement that marked this historic meeting over the last few days. Brazzaville, and specifically Kintele, has been more than a conference venue. In fact, a space, a preferred space for dialogue, reflection, and consultation on major challenges related to the development financing of Africa. I would like to commend the active contribution of the governors, delegations, financial and technical partners, the private sector, civil society, academia, and the media. By the quality of your contributions, you gave this meeting its full meaning, and the confirmation of an in-person holding of the 61st annual meetings of the African Development Bank, and the assurances by global and African health authorities, specifically the World Health Organization, and your massive attendance and presence here in Brazzaville have sent a strong and clear, unequivocal message to all the forces of darkness who overblow security, financial risk in Africa, to ensure the failure of lofty development initiatives of the continent.
Monsieur le Vice-Président,
Mr. President, the Vice President of the Republic of Botswana, members of government, the President of the African Development Bank, the theme for these annual meetings, that is mobilizing large-scale financing, Africa's development financing at scale in a fragmented world, was an opportunity to highlight a major issue. And that dovetails Chikaya Utamsi's own reflection or thought. How do we ensure that Africa has the resources to finance in a sustainable manner its social and economic activity? These meetings have highlighted a dire need for our continent to bolster domestic resource mobilization, to better harness its resources, and to consolidate its financial markets, or actually deepen them, and to further strengthen and support its private sector whilst attracting investments aligned with its strategic priorities. These meetings further demonstrated that ultimately development financing is not only about the quality of projects. It has to focus on good governance and has to ensure trust between the various development stakeholders. Beyond financing, there are major challenges that are involved, specifically access to energy, development of infrastructure, modernizing agriculture, industrialization, education, health, youth employment, and improving the living conditions of our people in a sustainable manner. We have together reviewed, dissected the paradox inherent in our continent. For instance, the financing gap of $400 billion for the development of infrastructure compared to the $4 trillion of our savings that are lying dormant and that we should mobilize, our mineral resources, and the shrinking of our share in the global economy, And we are talking about an Africa of contrast. And it is very clear we are no longer here to observe or take note. It is time to act. And we count on all technical and financial partners, and especially on the African Development Bank, because these meetings have also highlighted the pivotal role of the African Development Bank Group in supporting the efforts toward the social and economic transformation of the African continent. The African Development Bank Group remains a strategic and key partner for African states. It is poised to further support resource mobilization, project structuring, regional integration, food security, the energy transition, industrialization, and climate resilience. In that respect, I would like to restate my warm commendation to Dr. Sidi Ulta, President of the African Development Bank Group. Mr. President, you were bold enough to change things around and to say in no uncertain terms what people keep in their thoughts. Africa should stop begging. It has to start mobilizing. These meetings, thanks to your leadership, has been a time of disruption, a shift in doctrines, and the Republic of Government places its full trust in you, and wishes you full success as you deliver this objective for the fulfillment of Africa. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, together we have made strong commitments at these meetings, including the roundtable for the Congo Basin, and also the mobilization of more than $3 trillion billion US dollars. As the President said, the longest journey starts with the first step. That first step has been made boldly to protect our second global lung and to improve the living conditions of our people. I also have in mind the 17th replenishment of the African Development Fund and the unprecedented commitment of 25 members, 25 African countries are co-investing and following the pledge by Angola that has just been announced and that we fully commend. That is a clear sign of our collective maturity. Africa is no longer at the receiving end of aid. It has become, or is becoming, the master of its own fate. Lastly, I remember my country's vision. We have reasserted our ambition for Congo to become the multimodal gateway of Central Africa. Our energy, which is aligned on Mission 300, and the President's historic decision to scrap visas for all Africans from the 1st of January 2027 are concrete steps, concrete accomplishments which highlight our strong resolve to build a united, integrated, and prosperous Africa. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, the reflection that began in Brazzaville should be translated into strategic actions and decisions, and actions that would transform the lives of the people of Africa in a sustainable manner. And it is under these circumstances that development financing will become a lever of transformation. sovereignty, and shared prosperity. The roadmap is clear. And the presidential panel triptych would be our guide. Confidence, trust, because we have to believe in our institutions, our banks, and our state's capacities to guarantee safe and secure investments. And working together, because fragmentation is our worst enemy. We have to pool our skills, pool our legal systems, and to ensure that we have open borders and speak in one voice in the world. Courage, because we have to dare to beneficiate our resources, to develop our value chains, and to also impose a fairer, more representative financial architecture that is more attentive to our realities. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to thank the African Development Bank, the governors, the boards of directors, the delegations, financial and technical partners, as well as all the institutions represented at these meetings. May I also extend my gratitude to the National Organizing Committee, as well as my heartfelt congratulations to that committee that was ably led by the Vice Prime Minister, Coordinator of Development, Infrastructure and Regional Development, serving to the government services, technical teams, security and defense forces, volunteers, and all those who contributed in a professional manner and with commitment to the success of these meetings. May I restate the gratitude of the Republic of Congo to all the delegations who've come from Africa and beyond. I do hope that you had a pleasant stay in Brazzaville and that you had the opportunity to feel the hospitality of our people and the attachment of my country to dialogue, cooperation, and peace. I would also like to extend my gratitude to ambassadors and heads of diplomatic missions who ably conveyed the message of assurance, serenity, and security to all the delegations, and that led these people to trust Congo by attending in their large numbers this meeting. Brazzaville, land of peace and dialogue, was privileged to host these meetings. As you leave Brazzaville, go with you. Remember that this is Africa that is standing, and we have to remember that we have the keys to our own future. And it is on this note of trust and optimism, resolved optimism, and on behalf of His Excellency, Denis Sassou Nguesso, President of the Republic, Head of State, that I declare officially closed the 61st annual meetings of the African Development Bank Group.
Vive!
Long live Africa. Long live the African Development Bank. Long live the Republic of Congo. Thank you for your kind and keen attention.
Everything that has a beginning has an end. So we want to, just like our president, Dr. Sidi Uta, has said, he expressed his appreciation on behalf of the bank. Please, can we all just stand and then just clap for His Excellency, President Denis Sassou Nguesso, represented by His Excellency, Anatole Collinet Makoso. Let's just keep clapping. We thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Matondo, Son Excellence, Matondo, thank you very much. And then to all of you who are here, we thank you very much. I'm sure you're getting ready to travel. Travel safely, all the very best. But before you go, please just stay tuned. We want to give you what the ADB calls the best of, which is really the best of the moments of the this week, the annual meetings. Just enjoy the video. Thank you very much, Matondo. Thank you.
Je déclare ouvertes les assemblées annuelles 2026 du groupe de la Banque africaine de développement. Vive l'Afrique, vive la Banque africaine de développement.
La question n'est donc plus de savoir si l'Afrique a du potentiel. Ce débat est dépassé. La véritable question est désormais de savoir si nous sommes capables de transformer les atouts de l'Afrique en investissement productif, en emploi pour notre jeunesse, en création de valeur ajoutée et en influence économique à travers le monde.
Le panafricanisme n'est pas seulement un héritage historique, il est une responsabilité vivante.
Depuis 2024, nous avons un plan national de développement. Nous l'avons présenté à Casablanca et a suscité l'intérêt de beaucoup de nos partenaires.
L'Afrique ne demande pas la charité. Elle demande l'équité, la justice et une place légitime.
Il suffit seulement de nous mettre ensemble et puis de voir ce qu'on peut faire avec la Banque africaine de développement.
Even after factoring the impacts of the Middle East crisis, that Africa's real GDP growth is doing well.
De toutes les façons, il faut savoir que le vieux monde où on nous a inondé de dons et de crédits est terminé.
Au-delà d'être un rapport, c'est un véritable outil d'aide à la décision publique.
2025 was an exceptional year. We approved $11 billion in financing, the second highest level in the bank's history. Just as importantly, disbursement reached $7.1 billion, the highest level in the past 5 years.
Aujourd'hui, la République du Congo a décidé de prendre la plume pour écrire son propre récit.
Qu'à partir du 1er janvier 2027, l'entrée en République du Congo ne sera plus jamais soumise au visa pour tous les peuples africains.
Africa is taking the lead. Africa is raising money from Africa.
We don't have to wait for the industrial transformation to happen. There's a lot of low-lying fruit around.
This shows that when the risk is well structured, there's investor appetite.
Le Fonds bleu pour le bassin du Congo, c'est une réponse, comme je l'ai dit, aux difficultés que nous rencontrons. Et c'est une réponse aussi à la préservation du bassin du Congo, qui est aujourd'hui le premier poumon écologique mondial.
Nous sommes à un tournant décisif et je pense qu'il est plus que jamais temps que l'Afrique prenne son destin en main.
On n'a pas de temps à perdre, parce que la jeunesse n'attend pas. Donc l'urgence de l'action, l'impératif de l'exécution, c'est ça qui peut nous permettre d'aller vite et c'est l'esprit.
Bravo.
Du mérite congolais au cadre de la Banque africaine de développement à l'occasion de la tenue des assemblées annuelles de la BAD.
For too long, Africa's risks have often been overestimated. The world is discovering that the transition to a more sustainable global economy will not happen without Africa.
Excellences, Mesdames, Messieurs.
Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, before anything, could we give a round of applause to Madam the Secretary General, the Acting Secretary General of the African Development Bank? Yes, she has done an excellent job. Thank you, Madam Chioma. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, we are now at the end of the 61st annual meetings of the African Development Bank Group. Very respectfully, we will tell you how the Prime Minister will depart, and can we give him a round of applause as he does so?